Okay, let's go to the next one. First Corinthians 13:2. The next verse, it says this: if I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, but have not love, I am nothing. And there in your notes, without love, all that I know is incomplete. I told you the story about the timeline from Laura Ingalls Wilder's life. Somebody has come up with this figure that they think that right now we only have 3% of the knowledge that we're going to have in the year 2015. And they're estimating that knowledge is going to escalate that much by that time. But if all we have is knowledge, it is certainly incomplete. 1 Corinthians 8:1 says this: knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. You know, think about the little in the fish tank, the little puffer fish. You know how he expands, he blows up. Okay, knowledge just puffs you up. Okay, you hear somebody say that they've got a big head. That means their head is puffed up. They're full of knowledge. Okay, and here's the thing that we got to do: don't be a puffer, be a builder. Okay, I want to be a builder. Love builds up. It builds other people up that are around you. It doesn't puff you up. In fact, if anything, it's about you deflating and you building. Okay, so don't be a puffer. Be a builder. Later on in that verse, it says this. It says, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. Here's the point in your notes right here. Without love, all that I believe is insufficient. Now, you will hear me many times say here at Networks Church, I will refer to Christians as believers. And that's right, because you certainly do have to believe. But I really got to think about this, is there is something tied to that is even different or even deeper than believe. Now, I got engaged. I asked my wife to marry me in July of 1995. And I remember how I proposed to her. And I had the whole deal planned out, and it was a big production, and it was really cool. It was something that we'll never forget. And I remember when I was engaged to her, we didn't get married until a year later. And so for that whole year in there, we talked a lot about our upcoming wedding day. And we talked a lot about our upcoming marriage. And there were a lot of words that were said, and there was a lot of excitement, leading up to the deal. And can you just imagine for a second, if in that moment, in that time, if Karen and I had been talking, and Karen had said something to me like, Andrew, so, man, it's 2 months away. What do you think? I mean, what's in your heart? What's in your mind? What do you think? We're getting ready to be married. What if I had said to her, I believe. I believe. She probably would have looked at me and go, what? What do you mean you believe? You believe it's going to happen? I mean, that doesn't take much to do that. Baby, I believe. Wedding day, June 1st, I believe. Kind of sounds like, preparing for the Super Bowl and the Cinderella team, I believe, That's not very deep, it's kind of shallow. Or imagine if in that same scenario, she would have said, Andrew, 3 months away, we're going to get married. What do you think? What if I said to her, I have faith. I'm holding faith. She would have thought, what? You're holding faith? You mean you're faithful that we're going to get married, or you're faithful? Whoa! It just doesn't hit it. It doesn't hit the feeling. It doesn't hit the emotion. It doesn't hit what it's supposed to be. But what did I say? Andrew, 3 months away, what do you think? Maybe I love you. Love. See how much deeper that is? Do you see how that's the power? It's not even necessarily the belief. It's not the faith. It's the love. And here's the issue right here, is love moves faith. Love moves faith. Galatians 5:6. The only thing that counts is faith expressing itself through what? Through love. It's powerful. 1 Corinthians 13:3 says this: if I give all I possess to the poor, but have not love, I gain absolutely nothing. And here's the point in your notes. Without love, all that I give is insignificant. One of the things that I've noticed is the best gifts that I've ever given people, or the best gifts that I've ever received, have not necessarily been gifts that were necessarily expensive or extravagant, but the best ones were things like a homemade card that took some time and thought I remember one of the best gifts I ever gave my wife, and she still talks about it, is I wrote her a song. That didn't cost anything. And I still haven't been able to top that. I mean, it was, and why is that? Why was it so powerful? It's because it was the motivation behind the gift, and that motivation was extreme love. And that's what made the thing powerful. Here's a truth right here, guys. If you know it and I know it, that people who give out of the wrong motive, out of something other than love, eventually will resent. In other words, if someone gives out of the wrong motive, and it's something that's more surface level, there's something attached to that. And if their way is not meant, they will eventually resent. Because it never didn't come from the kind of heart that it was supposed to. In fact, I think that's why in the Bible it says that God loves a cheerful giver. What does that mean? I think it means that God loves it when the heart is motivated and it comes out of a heart of love because it is true. Now we think of that, typically like when we give our tithe and offering, and we certainly should. That kind of gift should come from that heart. But gosh, even everything else, even the way that we are with people, the way we are with our worship, with the way that we live our life, let it come out of a heart of love. I was just recognizing all the folks that would help us set up in the morning. On a day like this, I'm sure that there's a couple of those people that were scheduled to come today and they thought, oh, gotta get up early. Snow. But I tell you what, this is the thing I've noticed about all those people is when they're here, they've got a good attitude. And they're just doing it. Why is that? Because they're giving of themselves out of love. And that is a beautiful and wonderful thing. It's awesome. Without love, all that I give is significant. In fact, that's why whenever the old woman in the Bible who gave just the coins, in other words, the Pharisee or the teacher, I don't remember who it was, who gave, made a big sound of what he gave. But then there was the woman who just put in a few humble coins. And Jesus said she's given more than anybody else. And she's given out of her poverty. It's like maybe he could have reached down to her heart and said, man, I see the heart. It's giving there. And that's the way that it's supposed to be. Without love, all I give is insignificant. And then later in that verse, in verse 3, it says, if I surrender my body to the flames, but have not love, I gain nothing. The last point there in your notes, without love, all that I accomplish is inadequate. All right, guys, here's the deal right here. I think here in the 21st century, we have an epidemic that is really on the verge of destroying us. And it's not the issue of terrorism. It's not global warming. It's not things like that. But here's what it is we have an epidemic to where we hang our worth and our self-value in what we accomplish. And so, in order to gain worth, we sacrifice our body to the flames. And we give it time. And we put everything that's important on the back burner and just try to work and run and try to get through this life and tag some kind of self-worth and meaning to our life. And I'm telling you what, we are missing it. We are missing it. We are missing it. And here's the thing that's going to happen right here. And on that thought, there was something that happened to me last week. And I was sitting down, and it was actually a moment when I had a quiet moment. And I sat there, and I really didn't have anything to do for this one period of time. And I felt bad. And I'm like, I gotta find something to do. And I honestly felt guilt from just sitting there. And I thought, my goodness, what have I fed into my brain to think that I've got to just be running to be able to have some kind of worth? And I tell you what, folks, that is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Here's what's going to happen, is at some point, God is going to take an audit of your life. And it's not going to be on how much money that you made. It's not going to be on what you accomplished. But he's going to look at your relationships, and he's going to say, how did you love?